making it healthy today. I'm amping up the protein. I'm going to be doing a little bit of meal prep for breakfast this week, which I'll eat breakfast at any time of the day. And I am focusing on protein. That's something I've been focusing on this year, greens and protein. And then we'll maybe get into actually focusing on the calories and the working out and all that healthy things. But one step at a time, right? For this week, I am going to be making a quiche, which I've been wanting to make forever. I haven't made it because making pie crust really just, I don't know, I can't wrap my head around it. I always think it's gonna be this big, huge, annoying thing, and then it always is this big, huge, annoying thing somehow. They always shrink on me. So anyways, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to make a quiche because I love quiche, and that's just something that I want to be doing. And then I'm also going to make just a couple breakfast burritos. I usually make breakfast burritos by the bajillion at a time. Just gonna make a few. And I'm also making some, what else am I making? And I'm also going to make a couple protein waffles. Recently I tried a protein pumpkin waffle. Recently I tried a protein pumpkin waffle recipe, and that was okay. I am going to try a different protein recipe. I'm actually kind of going to make it up on my own and see how it goes. I'm just looking for, you know, protein high options, because if I'm going to be eating something, I don't just want like empty calories. So let's get started. Let me grab, what do I want to do first? I should make the pie crust first, huh? I don't know if I want to do that. Let me set all this stuff to the side. We'll make the pie crust first. We're gonna do it. I've decided that while I'm making the pie crust, I should get this sausage on because it can be cooking at the same time, and that way I am not wasting time. I can be as efficient as possible. The sausage is on. We actually made that sausage together, so if you haven't seen it, I will link that video up here for you. I am going to see what I need. I don't need these. I also preheated my oven to 425. I don't know if that's what I actually need it to be at, but that's what I did. I am going to get, let's see. I'm going to double this recipe. Well, not double. I'm going to make a single of this recipe, but I'm only going to use half of it. So I need 2 1/4 cups of flour, 2 sticks of butter, a teaspoon of salt, and then however much I need of the liquid. So let me see though. I'm gonna want to change what I'm using here. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, 2 1/4 cups. Okay, we'll need this in a little bit, so I'm going to leave it out. Put a little bit of salt in here, and then we'll cut up our butter. I'm going to cut the butter into smaller chunks before I get it. This sounds too high. I don't want that to go too crazy. I'm cutting it into small chunks before I put it in the blender, just so I don't make the blender work harder than it needs to. So I'm just gonna, do you want to go this way? And this butter is cold. I took it out of my fridge right before using it. It's not frozen, but cold is hopefully going to work just fine. I'm going to turn this on to pulse for a while, and while it's doing that, I'm going to go stir the meat. This meat got a very nice brown color on it. Luckily, I didn't burn it while I was doing all the other things. So it's almost done. It's just on its second side. Hopefully you can hear me over the blender. All right, the meat is done. I am going to finish this up. It is now a very fine powder, and I'm going to add just a little bit as we go of liquid I just want it to come together. So I'm gonna start with 2 tablespoons, not the ice cube, of ice cold water. And then I will pulse it again. It's in there, it's crumbly. I think I am going to add, let's see, I'm gonna actually knock all this down. I don't wanna get it too moist, but I also want to make sure it's still crumbly because otherwise I might hurt myself on that blade when I try to take it out. So we're just gonna do 1 more spoonful for now, and then we'll take it out and see how it does. So you gotta be really careful. I'm gonna add 1 more. 1 more. I keep saying that, but I always find it just needs so much. So I do live in Colorado, and 2. And it's super dry here. So a lot of times, like, our flour is just so dry. So yeah, this is where I always get screwed up though. We'll see. Alright, I like this a lot better. It started pulling away from the sides just a little bit. And I did mix this quite a bit. I know if you wanted, it might be a little too wet now. See, that's what I do. If you wanted this to not be, if you want it to be more flaky, you would definitely want to leave your butter in bigger pieces. But honestly, I'm not a big fan of the super flaky because it just makes it hard to like get it out. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's too wet. See, this is why I put off making this. That's okay though. It will be fine. It'll taste just the same. It'll just probably shrink a little bit. I'm gonna cut it in half because this is 2 recipes. Let me. Don't use my advice for this. There's people who know how to do this way better than me. I need to stick it in the freezer though, I think is what I'm gonna do, so that way it just gets super cold and hard. And then we'll be back to it in just a bit. While I have the blender out, I am going to make the waffles. I have my waffle iron, just my small one, out. I have 2 waffle irons, but I figured the small one will be good enough. I need 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I'm just going to eyeball that. Probably do a little bit less. There's a little butter on the sides. That will not hurt anything. We're gonna do 1 egg. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then 1 cup of milk is what the recipe calls for, but I'm going to add protein to the recipe. So I'm going to use a cup of this creamy vanilla Atkins protein shake. You could also just add protein powder into here and add the milk or add water. There's also a ton of recipes online that make it not a traditional one. Like, I was looking at them and they have a bunch of just all sorts of different substitutes. I wanted to have like a pretty regular one, and I need to leave 3 ounces in here, so I'm trying to estimate, like, do I think I have 3? I think we're good. I wanted to make a recipe that tasted pretty regular, not like so far off, because I recently made, well, it's gone now. I made protein banana bread. I didn't film it though. It was delicious. It could have been better if I had a better protein powder. And I also made protein brownies, which are a little on the dry side, but we're gonna get this. We're gonna make it work. So that was a cup of flour. It was the last cup that was in that container, so I'll need to refill it, and let's do it. I can tell this is hot and ready because the green light is on. So I am going to open it and realize that that is not the right insert. Oh my. Well, let me grab the right insert. I mean, this thing's pretty cool. It has waffle inserts. It's got panini and what was the other one I just thought, like a griddle. So I've never done that before, never put the wrong one in. Let me figure out how I want to get those out there. I've never tried to get these out hot before. I wonder, can I? Okay, there's that one. All right, popped it out. I'm going to heat this up again. In the meantime, I did decide to cut up an onion for the burritos and the quiche, so I'll just do that. I've also decided that I want to add some mushrooms to the quiche. So I might as well cut those up while we're waiting for that to heat up. Did I turn that on? Onions are now sauteing. I didn't actually spread them out. I like to cut these really fine because sometimes the texture just doesn't do it for me. Okay, we're back in business over here. What did I just wipe on myself? I'm going to spray it and then pour some batter on, and hopefully these taste good. Okay, we'll see if I did that right. So this green light should turn off and then it'll turn back on when it's done. That's typically how these work. We'll see if it does it. In the meantime, I'm going to grab a bowl so we can start getting all of the things together for the quiche. Just kidding. I decided to get everything ready for the burritos because then I can throw it into the pan. Then I can use the same bowl for the quiche and I don't have to use more dishes. So I need 5 eggs. I already put 1 in there. There is 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to add some salt and pepper to them. There we go. The light turned off. So now when the light turns back on is when it should be ready to go, theoretically. And then I do like to add a little bit of water to my eggs. You could add milk, you could add cream. Water is what I like to do. I do about a tablespoon or so for every egg. And then I will mix this up. Because once those onions are done, that's all I needed to pre-cook for the burritos. So I'll put the eggs in and we'll be pretty good. Eggs, then add everything together and wrap them on up. All right, we're green. Let's grab a fork. Okay, more batter is needed, clearly. Ooh, That's a good texture though. Hopefully they taste good. Grab my batter, we'll put more in this time. I think I only have enough batter for like one more waffle. So I'm gonna start turning my attention over to the burritos. The onions are basically done, so let's go over there. Okay, I'm going to take these, I guess I didn't need to turn the heat off. I'm gonna take all these onions out and put them with the meat, and we will bring them back in just a little bit. I'm going to add the eggs in. And while these eggs are cooking, I am going to get about half of this mixture into this bowl. This is for the quiche. See, this is where I was like, I won't have to wash more dishes if I do it this way. So I will leave this amount for the burritos and that amount for the quiche. We're also going to put quite a few spices in the quiche. So we'll do some garlic powder, some salt and pepper. And then that sausage has a ton of flavor on it as well. And then, oh, that was onion powder. This is garlic powder. And then I'll do some mustard. I guess I didn't use garlic salt for anything. A little bit of mustard powder in here. I need, let's see, how much cheese? I think I'm going to do about a cup of cheese. And then leave all the rest of the cheese for this, for the burrito. Do need to, oh, I shouldn't have got that all over there. Oh well. I need to stir the eggs. I waited a little too long. It's okay, they'll survive. The brown on the bottom is from cooking the sausage. I'm going to put all of the mushrooms in here. Okay, that is almost all the way cooked, these eggs, so I'm going to add in the sausage. And I'm also going to add a little bit of salsa. That's probably good. Turn that way down. Probably had it up too high to begin with there. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. I need to fill the tortillas, but I do want this to cool down just a little bit before I do, and I am almost done with this filling, but not quite. All right, and when I said almost done with this filling, I meant this one. So let's add a half a cup of milk. It did call for a little bit more than that, so let me add some water to that as well. I decided not to do all milk. The last thing I need for the quiche is 6 eggs. And we will whisk this all up. Okay, that is ready for when we have our crust rolled out. All right, this is supposed to make 5 burritos, so we will see if we get 5 burritos out of it. I always seem to overstuff them, so I want to make sure to not do that. I should have just like calculated how much would be needed. Okay, here's one. All right, I've got a bit of a mess that I need to clean up here. I have the burritos done and I have the waffles done. I just need to do the quiche, which will be in the oven for quite a while. So I'm gonna do a little bit of picking up. I wanted to taste these waffles and I have a few pieces here that have fallen off. So let's give it a try. That's delicious. I opted to not put any sugar in the batter. The original recipe called for sugar in the batter because it needed a little bit of sugar, but this protein shake has, I don't know, one of the fake sugars in there. So these are delicious. This might be my new favorite way of making waffles because it doesn't taste like overbearingly proteiny or gritty, because these aren't gritty when they're in the, what do you call this? Like when it's a liquid. So this makes 4 servings. I guess this would have been 4 completely regular size waffles had I not, put the wrong amount in them. You're going to see how this goes. I'm going to try to roll this out. I might have left it in the freezer for a little too long, so it seems like a rock right now. Yeah, I might need to let that just sit and chill for a second. And by chill, I mean warm up. I think I'm at a point where I might be able to just roll this out. I'm gonna move that out of the way. It's very cracky, which is something I find all the time when I'm working with a pie dough. No matter how much water I have in it, it's super cracky. And then, I don't know, pie dough is not my specialty. But it always tastes delicious. See, it just cracks all apart. Leave your tips down below. How do I do better with this? All right, this looks terrible, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's gonna taste good. So I am going to get it into there. Just gonna add that on there. You guys, it doesn't matter. It'll taste the same. Oh gosh. I've officially remembered why I don't make pie crust very often. But you know what? We've got it. I'm going to poke some holes into it, add some foil and some beans just to hold it down, and then I'm going to par bake it for a little while. Then we'll add our filling. I just took the pie crust out of the oven. I'm going to get the beans over just to another spot, and then I am going to put the filling in and we'll stick it back in. It's not the prettiest, but you know what? I bet it'll taste amazing. I hope this doesn't overflow. It might. I've let this cool down enough to where I can hold on to the pie pan without burning myself, which that's a pretty good success for me. So I'm going to cut a slice. I'm actually going to cut 2 slices so that I can accurately cut the slice size. I just did a quarter and I'm going to go in half. Quiche is one of my favorites and I don't make it often enough. I should, but I just don't. There's quite a bit of the crust in here. Mmm, that is so good. That crust is delicious. Let me see how this tastes. Hot. I remember why this is one of my favorites. It is so good. The crust, like I make things with eggs all the time, but the crust on this, the pie crust, it's just fantastic. I'm looking at it instead of you because I'm just like, this is delicious. So what I like to do with this is I'll cut it up, and then I'm not going to eat this all within the 2 to 3 days that I should keep it in the fridge for. So I'll let it cool down completely. I will cut it into all of the pieces, and I'll freeze these pieces individually so that way I can just have it for breakfast whenever I want to. Alrighty, we have our breakfast prepped for the week. Actually, this will be a little longer than a week probably, but we can get 8 servings out of here. This is 4 servings, but I ate one waffle, one little waffle. Again, it was like a half-size waffle. If I were to do it again, it would probably get like 4 waffles that are filled perfectly. I only got, I think, none of them are filled perfectly. I didn't fill them quite enough. So this would have been 4 waffles that are perfectly filled, and then 5 servings of breakfast burritos. So for a reminder for servings, protein, and calories, the breakfast burritos have about 345 calories per burrito and a whopping 30.1 grams of protein. The waffles are 210 calories per waffle. Now, of course, you would need to have something else with this, probably like a fruit or vegetable. What I really like to do with waffles is I like to put whipped cream on it. Whipped cream is super low calorie, or Cool Whip is really what I like because that's better. It doesn't have to be Cool Whip brand, but that style, like the tub style, few different berries, and then perfect. And the waffle, a serving of waffles, which would be 1 full-size waffle if I made it all the way full, would be 7.5 grams of protein. So you could definitely put like sausages on the side or bacon on the side or something and add a little bit of protein to your meal. Plus 209 or so calories isn't enough for a full meal anyways, so you would need those sides to go along and make it a full meal. Last on the list is the quiche, and there's 361 calories in each slice and 24 grams of protein. And I'm going to cut this into 8ths. So there will be 8 slices. I'm actually going to have this quiche for lunch. I'm just letting it cool off for a bit. And so help me remember to show you the taste test. I'm so excited for it. It looks just fine. Even though I had all those hiccups with the pie crust, it'll taste fine. It looks fine. I'm very excited for it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you. If you're interested in other breakfast prep or freezer prep meals, I will link some up here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.